Hey ladies and gents, it's me Truebrilliance back with a video. So in this video we're going to be talking about the famed North and South Node placements in astrology. So this is going to be a whole series going through all of the North and South Node placements in this video, what it means, what are the things that you need to work on, so forth and so on. Okay, so you're going to get the full lowdown, the full tea sip. Okay, in this video, just to let you guys know, I am an astrologer. I have a business called Queens and Thrones where we help you heal through the divine feminine energy. So if you would like to get any natal chart analysis done, any astrology work, any personal healing sessions or spiritual sessions done with me, check out my website. It's going to be down below, the link to it, so you can sign up for that. I also do teach personal classes as well. Okay, so getting into the North and South Node energy. Now, the North and South Node are 2 points in your natal chart. If you were just to go look up a free natal chart online, when you're going through your placements, it'll most likely be seen as the true node. Okay, some of them say North Node, some of them say True Node. Okay, so the True Node is also another word for North Node placement. Okay, and whatever your North Node or your True Node placement is, that's your North Node, and then the South Node is always going to be the opposite sign. So you don't necessarily have to see the South Node placement, just it's always the opposite sign of your North Node all the time. Okay, so you're going to want to pay attention to what sign that your North Node or your True Node is in, and you're also going to want to pay attention to the house that it's in, because the house placement is important as well. This video we're just going to be talking about the sign placements, but you will also be able to get some information about your house placement as well, because the energy is going to be a little bit similar as well. Okay, but I will do a house placement North Node and South Node video at a later time. This will just be for you to get the basics. Okay, so another way to identify the North Node placement in your chart, like if you have one of the circular astrology charts, it looks like a set of headphones. Okay, that's what the symbol of it, the astrology symbol of the North Node is. It looks like a headphone. So it's like a round circle and like two balls on either end. Okay, it kind of looks like a horseshoe with two balls on the end. Okay, that's the symbol for the North Node. Okay, so the North and South Node are 2 points of the moon, and it's said to represent our karmic destiny, our reason for reincarnating back into this realm. Okay, so the reason why the South Node is important for you to know is because the South Node is usually the energy that we come into this life carrying over from our past lives. Okay, so the South Node placement covers the energy that we have been operating in for a very long time, and that we are very used to operating in this energy. Okay, and it's kind of like second nature to us. But the South Node placement is no longer helping us. It's actually hindering us in this lifetime, because it's causing us to fall back on old habits and old ways of being that are outworn in our life and really aren't helping us to reach the next level in our life. Your North Node placement, which is always the opposite of the South Node, is actually the energy that we need to be moving toward in order to balance out our South Node energy. Okay, so we actually need to be learning the ways of the North Node, practicing the ways of the North Node in order to evolve our consciousness and to take our lives to the next level. Because basically, think of the North and South Node like two scales. Okay, the South Node is tipped up here and the North Node is down here. Okay, so basically, because we've been focused so much on our South Node energy, we are out of balance. Okay, and we have too much energy focused here. So what we need to do is practice our North Node placement to bring the energy back here and to balance us out. Okay, so a lot of people don't know that the South Node really influences who we are, our overall personality. So your South Node placement usually influences you for the first 30 years of your life. Most people are totally unconscious of this energy. I personally was unconscious of it until my late 20s, and I actually didn't start feeling comfortable practicing my North Node until after my Saturn return. Your Saturn return comes at the age 28, between 28 and 30. So people usually don't get the hang of practicing their North Node until after 30 years old or after their Saturn return has ended. However, the younger you are and the sooner that you're getting this information, the better, because the sooner you start practicing your North Node energy, that is the faster that you're going to evolve. That's the faster that you're going to be going toward your soul evolution and the purpose, the reason why you incarnated back into this realm. Because it's said that the North Node is so important that it is the entire reason why we incarnated back into this world, is to practice the energy of the North Node to balance out our past life karmas and our past life issues. Okay, so the sign that the North Node is in and the house is very, very important. Also, any aspects that the planets are making to either one of these points is very, very important as well, because if you have a lot of planets aspecting your South Node, that means that you have a lot of energy that's pulling you back to that old way of being. So you really have to work like twice as hard to overcome your South Node, because you have so much energy focused on South Node areas. On the flip side of it though, if you have a lot of your planets, especially the more positive planets, aspecting your North Node, the energy that you're already going toward, this can actually be very beneficial to you, okay? Because you have energy in this lifetime that is helping you reach your North Node, okay? And so it comes a little bit more natural to you, okay? Same thing as if your sun sign is in the same sign as your North Node, that's going to be beneficial to you. If your moon sign is in the same sign as your North Node, that's going to be beneficial to you. If your Venus is in the same sign as your North Node, that's going to be beneficial to you, because that means that you came into this world born already with the energy that you need to practice your North Node. And it can work in the reverse. If your sun, moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars is in the same sign as your South Node, you, depending on what the rest of your chart looks like, because it always depends on the rest of your chart, you may have to work a little bit harder, okay, to break away from some of those South Node tendencies, because you already naturally have that, especially if it's like your sun or your ascendant or your moon. Okay, so that's just to give you guys a little cover story on that. I talked at length about my South Node placement and my South Node experience, how I came into awareness about it, how it changed my life, and I will link that down below as well, so you guys can watch my South Node video about how it has affected me personally, and you guys can get more insight into that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get into the personal placements of the North and South Node. Okay, so now we're going to get into Cancer North Node, Capricorn South Node, Capricorn North Node, and Cancer South Node. So first we're going to start with Cancer North Node. Okay, so both sides of the spectrum with these, Capricorn South Node and Cancer South Node, are both pretty hard placements. Okay, they're pretty heavy. They're pretty, you carry in a lot of emotional burdens. Okay, both of you. Okay, so this is not an easy South Node to have on either side, okay? But dealing with Cancer North Node, Capricorn South Node, you guys are coming into this world with a lot of burdens from your past life, because you had to take on a lot of responsibility, okay, in your past life. So you were somebody that was maybe the CEO of many companies. You ran an empire. You were somebody that had a lot of businesses, or maybe you just worked really hard your entire life to make a living for yourself. You also may have been a provider in your past life, providing stability for a lot of people around you. Okay, and because you had all these responsibilities to provide for a lot of people, it puts you under a lot of pressure, and it puts you in this work mode mentality where it's like work, 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 and that's all that you had time for, was to work. So it's like you did achieve a lot of things in the physical dimension, and in the outer world you achieved a lot of things through hard work and sheer determination. But because of that, your inner life and your emotional life suffered a lot. You may have been made to feel like you weren't important or that you weren't deserving of proper nurturance and love from other people. So, with Capricorn South Node people, you guys come into this life very starved for attention and affection and real love and like a family home environment. You may think that you're only good or only looked at as a provider or somebody that can do something for other people. Or you may feel like you just have to work for people's attention or work for people's love. And you may not feel like the love that you receive from other people is really genuine love. It's really hard for you to open up. So you come into this life very, very closed off emotionally. Um, and you really never had any time to yourself to really nurture yourself and the things that you really wanted deep down in your heart. You may even have a hard time really figuring out what your deeper needs are because you just may not know because you're just so used to going out and getting what you want and ambition, ambition, ambition. But a lot of that ambition that you have is to cover up for the lack that you may feel deep down inside. So even in this life, you may have a very strong worker mentality and you still may be trying to go out and achieve in the outer world. But that emptiness that you feel inside is just going to continue to grow until you start to incorporate other people into your life and until you open yourself and your life up to love and to having a real family and also allowing people to love you. Because Capricorn South Node people, it's not that people don't love you, is that you don't really open yourself up to be loved because you may feel kind of awkward when it comes to the love energy or nurturing energy or mothering energy or even divine feminine energy. Okay, so you may have a very strained relationship with your mother. Okay, there may have been issues in your past life where you were abandoned by your mother or abandoned by your family. And this can be a very deep unconscious wound that you carry around with yourself that may have caused you to feel unlovable. And so that's why you work so hard to overachieve, okay, in the physical world, because you feel like this is something that I have control over. I can control me being successful, okay, and I don't need them. I don't need my family. I don't need love because I have my career or I have this, but your career isn't going to be able to compensate for it anymore. It may have worked in your past lives, but this life, the universe is really pushing you to open up your heart to develop and build your own family, okay? Because you need to compensate for what you have been lacking in your past lives. So you don't even need to go out and physically achieve in the physical dimension anymore. You've already done that. You've achieved some amazing things in your past lives, not to take away from anything that you have achieved because you've worked your butt off to get the things that you have, and that's really admirable. But now you need to be successful in the home and family dimension. Okay, so this is a lifetime where you are another one, kind of like Scorpio South Node, where you need to heal this lifetime and take it easy, okay, and be around loved ones. If your family that you came in this life with are not good people, or they're narcissists or they're energy vampire, then forget that relationship. Build your own family. Okay, start your own family. Find a spouse, find a significant other. Open yourself up to that person. Open yourself up to love. Having children will do wonders for you. Having your own children is going to resolve so many issues for you because you're going to have someone else to love. And that type of love that you have with your children is the unconditional love that your soul so deeply seeks. Because really, what you seek is to be seen. You really want to be seen for who you are on a soul level, not just seen for what you have and your achievements. Like, that's superficial. You don't want people to love you because of your name or because of your reputation or because of how much power you have in the world. You want somebody to love you really for you, and to where you don't have to provide for them or you don't have to have a certain title or certain recognition for somebody to love you. No, people can love you just for you and for who you are because you are a lovable person. So building a family and having a domestic life is something that you really need to focus on. If you are still in this lifetime trying so hard to get your outer achievement, just know that you've already been there and done that. And just know that your achievement needs to switch to home and family. And if you're the type of person where you don't want to get married and you don't want children, then build a family of friends, okay? Make your friends your family. Do stuff together. Celebrate special holidays together. Celebrate birthdays together. Get together with a big group of people, your soul family. Okay, if you don't want to do the traditional family, get together with your soul family. Cook, have dinners together, wine and dine with each other. Okay, have deep, soulful conversations because you need to open up your soul. You need to open up your heart chakra this lifetime and heal through your relationships with other people, okay? Okay, so moving on to Capricorn North Node and Cancer South Node. Okay, so with you guys, Cancer South Node, now this is also a very heavy South Node placement because most of the time Cancer South Node people come into this life with a lot of family issues from their past lives, okay? So you guys have had really deep entangled bonds with your family. Okay, so again, it's kind of similar to the Scorpio South Node because their entanglements have been in relationships and sexual bonds. But with Cancer South Node, your deep emotional bonds has been with family members, okay, to the point where you have been very, very attached to your family in your past lives. Now, it could play out in one of two ways. You could have been very attached to your family in past lives in a kind of positive way. I guess it could be seen as positive, where you were so tight with your family that you thought about them and all the decisions that you made, and you felt like you weren't able to operate on your own because you cared so much about what your family thought. Okay, so it was like your family's thoughts about you and what they wanted for you had such a huge impact on you that you didn't feel like you could be independent and operate on your own. Or it could have played out in the opposite way. The opposite way is you could have had a very toxic family. Okay, a very, very toxic family, but they still, because you were so emotionally connected to them, they still influenced you in a very negative way. Okay, but it was like you were so attached to them, you couldn't get away from them. Like no matter what you tried to do to get away from them, there they were, because you had a lot of past life karma to work out with them. Okay, so a lot of emotional scars, emotional entanglements, emotional karma with your family, Cancer South Node, but also you guys can be very, very emotional people and very attached to people to the point where you guys can be very codependent in your relationships. You guys also can be the caretakers. So you guys can be used to taking care of people. Okay, and that's where you feel comfortable and that's where you feel safe. And that's kind of where you get your identity, is in taking care of other people and being everything to somebody. Okay, but you really haven't figured out your own identity and made a name for yourself outside of your attachments to other people. Because with Cancer South Node people, your attachments, your emotional attachments are your life. And it's like you cling to those things and you don't care about, really building a career for yourself or making a name for yourself out in the world, as long as you have your people. You know what I mean? But the universe really wants you to separate yourself from those emotional bonds because it's making you codependent, and it's making it so that you can't see yourself and you can't see your purpose, because Cancer South Node people can sacrifice their life purpose for their relationships or to be in a relationship, just because you guys get very, very comfortable, okay, in your emotional bonds, and you guys kind of like look at it like, this is all I need. I just want to have this and I'm good. But the universe really wants you to create your own career for yourself and to build your public reputation out in the world, because Cancer South Node, you guys can be kind of scared of putting yourself out in the public and letting the world really see you. You guys like to kind of hide in your shell, and you guys only like to be around people that you feel comfortable with. You guys don't really like to break outside of your comfort zone and go out into the world at large and to establish yourself in the world, because the world can kind of seem to be a scary place to Cancer South Node people. So you guys really, your lesson is learning to step outside of your comfort zone and learning to step away from your emotional bonds that you have with people. okay? Because it's time for you to make a name for yourself, okay? It's time for you to figure out what your purpose is outside of your relationships, because you do have a purpose outside of your relationships that you were supposed to achieve. Also, you need to learn the lesson of boundaries. Capricorn is about boundaries, setting up healthy boundaries. This is me, this is you. You're over here, I'm over here, okay? You need to stay focused, okay? Because it can be very hard for you, Cancer, South Node people, to stay focused on your business, focused on your path in life, because you're always worried about what's going on with your loved ones. Okay, but these people, they don't need to be babysitted. They don't need to be coddled. You kind of need to let people fall where they may and make their own mistakes and things like that. They don't need you to take care of them any longer. They don't need you to mother them. Okay, so you have to kind of parent yourself and stand on your own 2 feet and develop your own identity. And really, the universe wants you to really focus on your own career path and build a career for yourself, because that's going to make you feel so empowered. And that's actually going to make your emotional bonds and your relationships even better, because people are going to respect you more. Because with Cancer South Node, you guys can get walked all over by other people. And you guys may feel used and abused by people very easily. But that's because you're too giving and you're too focused on others instead of being focused on yourself. The more that you're focused on yourself and your own individual path, that's the more that people are going to respect you, admire you, look up to you. And people are also going to respect your boundaries, because you guys need to establish boundaries. You guys come into this world with very, very weak boundaries. Okay, so you need to establish your boundaries. Okay, and you need to be stern and stoic in those things. You need to set standards for yourself, Cancer South Node people, because you guys don't set enough standards for yourself. Set standards and don't let people go past those standards. You got to be a little bit more strict and a little bit more cut and dry with people. You got to say what you mean. You got to mean what you say. You can't say something to somebody and then go back on it the next day, go back on it the next week. No. Put up your boundaries, maintain your boundaries, and keep your boundaries up, okay, to live that healthy life that we all want to live. So I hope that worked and helped for you guys. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below.